Hey everybody, it's Sadie the Wind Sage, and welcome back to Let's Play Kiss for the Petals, Maidens of Michael. In the last episode, we we finally figured out who Sara's new modeling partner was, and to the shock of probably absolutely no one, it turned out to be Kaede. Well, I say to the shock of no one, but again, even though I had suspected it, I thought like, no, Sara probably wouldn't do that. And though in hindsight, though, I should have remembered it was Sara we're dealing with, and this is something she'd totally actually do. So, yeah, I guess, yeah. And before we get this episode something else is, we saw a bit of, Kaede's, a bit of adventuring into trying to model, and well, knowing Kaede, it's going about as well as you expect it to. Not to like say anything bad against Kaede, but like she really doesn't like crowd. She doesn't really like crowds. She gets a bit overwhelmed easy, I guess. Well, depending on the thing, and so she's not doing so great. But now with a bit of encouragement, she's probably likely going to go back and try to give it another attempt now. Sorry if I'm a bit mumbling and my commentary seems a bit off this episode. I have not recorded in a while. Like, I have not recorded in a long time, and there's a combination of reasons for it. I can probably explain it, but I'm due to make an update video soon anyway, so I'm just probably going to explain it there. To give you the short answer, quite a few things are happening, and in fact, some of you might notice I might sound a bit quieter. Like, I upped my mic's volume, so maybe it'll balance out, but I might sound a bit quieter. That's because I've had to change my, recording. I've had to change my, my recording area a little bit. Had to move my recording area entirely because of, reasons I'll explain in a bit. And so I actually have to mind my volume now, especially recording now. So, yeah. But anyway, let's just dive right into this part. I've kept you guys waiting long enough. Anyway, let's go. Also, something else is I know for the last two episodes I've speculated, oh, this could be the finale, and I've gotten it wrong twice. And while I still have this strong inclination that we're maybe getting close to the end of this story, I'm no longer going to say that I think this is the finale, because this is the kind of problem with blind Let's Plays and kind of timing these out, is that while I can predict when the end comes, I can never truly know when the end comes. So, and while I usually want to be like particular and kind of make a special introduction for the ending, I really can't know at this point. This could be the final episode, or heck, we could be going on for freaking like 50 more parts. So I'm just gonna make it so at this point, like, if it's the end, so be it. Again, I feel we're getting close to the end, but it might not be this episode, so whether it ends or not, so be it. We'll know. And I guess I don't necessarily need to make a special introduction for the finale of something, but I just like doing that. But again, this is kind of the whole thing. This is a blind Let's Play. I can never know. Though my guessing has usually been pretty good, but it hasn't been lately, so yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
心配でこっちに来たんだよ、サラ。サラがどんなに大変だったか今ならわかるわ。サラ、偉いでしょ。でもサラはね、楓ちゃんがいてくれるから頑張れるの。このお仕事は大変だと思うけど、これからもサラに付き合ってくれると嬉しいな。未熟者だけど頑張ってみるわ。私だってずっとサラのそばにいたいから。サラ、楓ちゃん。じゃあ楓ちゃんには今から特別な仕事をやってもらいます。仕事って何？それはね、楓ちゃんが急にいなくなって不安になったサラちゃんを慰めるお仕事です。サラ、サラ、いっぱい慰めてあげるね。ねえ、楓ちゃん。何？今日はもうオフだから一緒にカラオケ行こう。え？カラオケ？私ちょっと苦手かも。ダメだよ。楓ちゃんにはいっぱい練習してもらって上手くなってもらわないとね。え、なんで？それはまだ秘密だよ。
I don't know, Sarah. Last time you said that, you dropped quite the bombshell on Kaede.
じゃあ行くよ、楓ちゃん。 カラオケで練習した甲斐があったね。ねえ楓ちゃん。ええ。
ディレクターさんすっごく褒めてたわよ。これは逸材だって。
そうですか。
でも楓さん、イントロのとこが2箇所とサビで3箇所振り付けが間違っていたわ。
はい、すみません。
今度は気をつけてね。
はい、わかりました。
それでは楓さんとサラちゃんの記念すべき歌手デビューのワンセグ画像鑑賞会を行います。
これ有名な歌番組ですよ。タモミさんと喋ってる。すっごい。
ちょっとナナミ落ち着いて。でも一生懸命頑張っているのが画面を通して伝わってくるよね。
お二人ともとても可愛らしいわ。
楓様とサラさんがこうしてテレビに出てるのってなんか不思議な感覚です。みんなちょっと遅れてごめんなさい。って何をしているの？遅れてすみません。恥ずかしい。綺麗に映ってる。嬉しい。楓様、サラさんとっても可愛いです。ぜひぜひサインください。
楓さん、サラちゃん、すごーく素敵だったよ。
二人ともぴったり息が合っていたし、最高のダンスだったね。
もう画面の中でも二人でイチャイチャしてるんだから。
そんな。いやー、照れるな。
でもとっても頑張ってるわね。こっちは安心して任せておいて。あまり無理をしない程度に頑張ってね。
そうですよ。頑張りすぎは禁物ですから。みんなありがとう。ありがとうございます。なんでもないわ。サラ、ちょっとごめんね。嘘。
楓さん、どうしたの？何かあったのかしら。
楓ちゃん？いや、それが。マネージャーさんからのメールなんだけど、私のソロ歌手デビューが決まったって。楓ちゃん、すごい。
めでとう。
楓さん頑張って。そんなの無理よ。信じられない。もう楓ちゃんたら諦めが悪いよ。でも一人で歌なんて本当に無理だよ。もうこの間頑張るって言ったばかりじゃない。それはそうだけど、じゃあこの仕事辞める？
You know, I honest to God would not be surprised if the answer to this was yes, really. Considering she kind of didn't want to do this in the first place.
やめないわ。楓ちゃん、サラの夢が叶うまで私もやめないから。ありがとう、楓ちゃん。
And the Steam notifications are I never figured out how to fix that. I scoured the freaking internet for figuring out how to take care of those Steam notifications. I could not figure it out. I'll probably look again after this episode's over, but still. Until your dreams come true. And happy end! And with that, the end of Sara and Kaede's route. And... oof. Okay, there we are. For a second I thought the credits weren't going to load. But yeah, that's another route done. And... I feel so bad for what I'm about to say, and that is kind of thank God it's over, really. I don't want to come out. I don't want to come off of this story being extremely negative, and so I'm not going to. There's definitely positives here, but this has probably been my least favorite route of all of the current 3 we've done. And really, I don't even know where to start with talking about my opinions of this thing overall. I might just let the credits play out while I think about it, but yeah, hey, you know what? It's still always nice, that feeling of accomplishment, finishing these routes. These routes are nowhere near as long as... Okay, these routes are still nowhere near as long as recent Mia's routes, which took, I believe, took over 30 parts. Again, I can't really remember right now how many parts each thing has taken, but this is still like, not that I expected any of these routes to ever become longer than Risa and Mia's, but yeah. Alright, I really am just trying to dodge the subject now. Again, we're almost done with the credits. I'll end the credits on a. This has still been kind of a nice adventure to go on. And yeah, hey, we still got 3 more routes to go, so it's not like we're done yet, but anyway, let's hop into the extra, go into the music. Same old, same old. So let's go into the CGs. Kaede and Sara, and what's a good CG? Jeez, I think they're the only ones we have to work with. Wow, a lot of these are very similar. I imagine we have many more CGs to work with in the 18 plus version, but not that I'd be able to show those on YouTube anyway. Let's just go with this one for now. And does this one change? Alright, I think I like the eyes open version of this better. Yeah, alright. Overall, final thoughts on this route. Okay, honestly, how will I summarize my overall thoughts on this route? Honestly, like, let me not make any mistake here. Make no mistake for things though. No matter what I say about this route, I did enjoy it. This was another enjoyable story, right on the quality of stuff we've seen, and right on with the quality of everything we've been kind of seeing up to this point. That being said, this is probably the first route I actually have some very big kind of critiques on, where, okay, honestly, I'm just gonna say it, I feel this route took too long. Like, I feel this route did not need to last as long as it ended up taking, with kind of the things that have been going on. Now, Risa and Mia's route is still the longest route, and I feel it deservedly is the longest route. That is the first story for them as a couple, and there's a lot we got to go through before we even got to the couple phase with Risa and Mia. And then there's, the adventures kind of the couple phase we got to go through. And it's a very, different approach to storytelling, very different prior to how the rest of these stories were likely handled. Again, I did not read all 10 of the ones that took place before this, just only a few of them. And so, yeah, there was a lot to cover there, which I feel warranted at length. And it was really generally investing pretty much the entire way through. Some points where it was slow, but yeah. That's Risa and Mia's route. And again, I might go into more detail about that a little later in its own video. Sara and Kaede's route, or let me talk about Yuna and Nanami's route and what I liked about that. While there was kind of the things of Yuna and Nanami's route of, there was kind of a lot that couple had to prove, and it proved itself well. And I feel, it proved itself well it improved on a lot of the problems I had with the first story. Again, I never read the second story with Yuna and Nanami in it, so that might have improved things as well, but I guess I'll be the judge of that when I actually go back and do it, because I do plan to read those stories eventually. And, it was still a decent length. It kind of had this format of there was this kind of overall problem. There was a problem and solution. That's kind of how the plot went. It starts, it presents kind of the problem or lingering sort of thing that we're going to focus on for this story, and then it ends it. And with Sara and Kaede, it was doing that for a while too. You know, we introduced the characters, we're getting the sense of the things, and then we're being presented with the problem, which is kind of the fact that, you know, Sara's job is starting to take up a lot more of her time, so she can't be with Kaede as much. And along with that issue, there's also the issue of that article regarding Sara's mother, where Sara feels like there's a lot of expectations put on her, and how it's kind of like a lot of expectations put on her. She feels that she's only being as famous as she is now because kind of riding the coattails of her mom, and she doesn't want to do that. Not to say that she has any issues with her mom, she really doesn't seem to, but she's worried that she's inadvertently riding her mom's coattails. And those were some really good things, and they all tied together. You know, the lack of time, you know, Sara's kind of insecurities, and, you know, Kaede's loneliness. Those are all a bunch of mini problems, but they all tie back to kind of the same root. And, you know, when we got to the episode with their anniversary dinner, that sincerely just sad episode, like, that was a really, honestly, sad part, in my opinion. Well, you know, we kind of reached a resolution. You know, Sara got her confidence back. You know, Kaede, you know, Sara got a bit of her confidence back, and Kaede's kind of, you know, has learned to, Kaede's kind of is learning to deal with it. How she, she can still, I guess, learn to not quite be as lonely anymore, since she's working to help Sara further her own success. And, you know, that's fine. That's a role Kaede plays really well, kind of as a support behind the scenes person. That is really where the height of Kaede's character is, I feel. And, you know, I feel that would have been a really, you know, nice and good conclusion. But that's not where the story ends. That's not where the story ends. We're at half, maybe 2/3 of the point when that story happens. So now we kind of got this new problem kind of springing up, and that's Kaede's insecurities with Sara's modeling partner, and why didn't Sara tell her this and all that, which we never got that answer as to why Sara never told Kaede about that, other than wanting to make it a surprise. But still, the thing is that issue again is another kind of good issue, but considering it's following up on the issues on the issue there, it feels like its great own individual story, but I feel it really should not have perhaps been the follow-up to that. And I feel the story sometimes does really weird things with Kaede's character, but I'll get back to that in a bit. So, you know, we have that, you know, Kaede forms this really solid friendship with Mai and Yuna, which, while I like, kind of in the same way how I like the Freshman Club, how it kind of built upon these friendships, I worry that it's not going to mean much when we get to Mai and Reo's route. And I kind of really hope that the junior club is not just existent in this one story, that we maybe see more elements of it. If we don't, then I feel it has less purpose for existing. Not to say it shouldn't exist, but it feels like it's setting up for something, but with the way that you can engage any of these other routes at any time you want, for all we know, this is really not setting up anything, and it's exclusive to this route where, you know, the friendship's nice, but sorry, it would be nice to see within the other routes. Okay, but anyway, you know, we get to that, and we learn, you know, Sara's, we learn who Sara's modeling partner is, and that it's Kaede. You know, good. Another problem, and, you know, Kaede, you know, gets more confidence in herself that even if we didn't learn who Sara's modeling partner was, she was like, I just have to trust Sara more, and I trust that our love is real. Okay, good. You know, problem, solution. There we go. You know, problem, solution. There we go. But then it's not over after that either. And to be fair, this one kind of a bit. And to be fair, after dropping something in our lap that Sara was the Kaede was the modeling partner, of course we'd want to see a bit of an aftermath of that, which is why I thought, you know, the scene that this CG was tied to, like this stuff right here, you know, I thought that'd maybe be like the epilogue of the story, you know, maybe this was the CG we'd end at even. I thought that'd be, you know, we kind of see a little bit of that. We see, you know, it's kind of tough, but they're going through it. You know, they're managing through it. But it's not over that. We have one more kind of real quick problem solution thing to take care of, which is that, you know, Kaede is really kind of stumbling on the job, and she's really unconfident about that. But, you know, it ends, it ends, she gets some encouragement from her friends, and, you know, she gets encouragement from Sara, and, you know, they decide to work on it together, which leads to the actual end. That feels like a lot. And if this was its own standalone, like, maybe I'm coming into this with kind of false expectations, or maybe the wrong set of expectations. But I felt the fact that these were shorter-ish stories, I felt was a really good thing. And maybe I'm supposed to see this as its own individual story. And maybe the fact that I was trying to see it as a short story is not the way to look at it. And you know what? Fine, that... Jeez, I'm just yawning a lot. And you know what? Fine, that is just maybe a me problem. But it feels like it's going on really... It feels like it's dragging on. It feels like this kind of drags on long. And... yeah. And then again, the fact that I feel maybe it's dragging might be... also have to do with my opinion of the couple overall. Okay, let me talk about this now. Sara and Kaede is a good couple. I mentioned at the end of my Yuna and Nanami video that I was not the most looking forward to this route. If only because Sara and Kaede is a good couple, but I feel it's kind of a vanilla-ish couple, or it's kind of like, you know, it's a very normal couple. I feel nothing's necessarily too out there, or there's like, I feel it's not even out there, like, I feel it's an okay couple, but mostly just okay, but an okay couple, it works, and, you know, I like it, but I don't, like, love it, like I love the rest of them, like I love, like Risa and Mia and Mai and Reyes, so it was, so that could be the other reason. The fact that I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this couple might have been part of the reason I think that this couple lasting as long as it did might have been a bit of an issue. That being said, I was also going into this open-minded and wondering, you know, what things look like. Or how the interactions would act if they got better or worse. And overall, I think they're kind of right around the same spot they were at the end of their second story. Again, the thing that I kind of liked about Kaede, and I talked about quite a bit, is kind of the confidence she has, despite, you know, that's usually not within her trope. People within her trope are usually, you know, a bit shyer, and, you know, not as, you know, great, and are a bit shy, or a bit shyer, a bit more modest, you know. We see that in a lot of her tropes, and she matches up to her trope quite a bit. But she has that kind of confidence, at least with Sara, that confidence and that bravery to kind of act out of her trope. And, you know, I really like that. And I do love her relationship with Sara, how they really help each other out and they kind of complement each other. But I feel the story also kind of fucks with Kaede's character. Sorry to swear like that, but it kind of really does do that. Because the thing with Kaede is, you know, she's generally, you know, very mature and level-headed. You know, she doesn't like the crowds too much. She kind of likes keeping to herself and doesn't like, you know, being the center of attention. But, you know, when she's with Sara, when she's with this person she really cares about and really loves, you know, she's a bit, you know, she can be a bit looser. She can be a bit, you know, more kind of, you know, braver and honest with herself, which is kind of the whole point of her story in My Dear Prince. It's her gaining that strength. It's her gaining that strength and confidence that she, you know, that she has with Sara, and how Sara really kind of proves to Kaede how she is this kind of, you know, amazing person who's helped Sara out. And I like the transformation, and we see that is what she's become, and she's kind of stuck with that. But we're back to this point where we're seeing but many times in this story, we're going back to the very shy, very insecure Kaede. You know, she's worried about this, you know, modeling partner that Sara's going to be with, and, you know, she's worried. This comes from Kaede's kind of, like, somewhat waning, not great self-esteem, I know this, but I feel that she, and I guess this is maybe because these two perhaps don't really understand how much they love each other, that I feel her kind of insecurities, I feel really should not have been should not really have been too much of a point of her character. Maybe for a bit, but maybe for a little bit. And I feel it didn't focus a lot on the point of, like, why didn't Sara tell me this? A lot of the point was on that modeling partner, but I feel more of the point should have been on the why didn't Sara tell me about this? Like, does she not trust me or something like that? And I feel that would have been a more interesting kind of point to tackle. But she was more worried about, is this modeling partner going to steal Sara away? And I guess I felt like that was not as great a plot, because it kind of puts the character's loyalties into question, and there really should not be much doubt about that at this point. So yeah, I guess that's a thing about it. So I like the friendships with the juniors that this kind of creates, but yeah, it's overall I feel not a great kind of story arc, and it really does that. And then there's the fact that Kaede becomes Sara's modeling partner. I'll be honest, I don't like that. Like, this is like something that I feel is really not within Kaede's character. I like the gaining of confidence she got in the end of her story. I like the gaining of confidence she had at the end of her not join love with you, My Dear Prince, and how it kind of transfers over to the second story, where Kaede becomes kind of like becomes like a stronger character, and, you know, you see that a lot, and it kind of, that story, and the second story kind of focuses more on kind of Sara a bit, and her stuff with that. But we also saw that, you know, Kaede's still a generally shy person, doesn't like crowds that much, but, you know, it's fine. You know, she's slowly kind of growing out of her shell, and we see through her interactions that she does not absolutely hate interactions. She just hates, like, large crowds and being the center of attention, but she can hang out with the others just fine. But then we have her being a model, and we see that she's not good at it. Which is fine. It's a good showing of that kind of, you know, shyness about her. But I feel it doesn't go against her character, but I feel it's not a good fit for her character. That I felt it would have been a lot better if she just supported Sara, you know, from the sidelines, as opposed to becoming a model herself. Now, again, this is just a bit of a small thing, I guess you can. That's a bit of a small thing, I guess you can say. But it is a thing that does, like, sincerely bother me that happens with her. And I feel it's like, because you see, it's like, I feel you don't see a lot of character developed Kaede in that case. You only really see it, I guess, when she's by herself or in some of her inner thoughts. And I feel I kind of wanted to see more of this stronger Kaede who's helping Sara out. And, you know, helping Sara out. But, you know, since it's a very story focused on Kaede, we got a lot of Kaede's issues. Not to say that they didn't handle Sara's conflicts well. They really did. I feel Sara's conflicts are the most interesting part of this story. You know, how she feels she's maybe riding on the coattails of her mom, showing kind of the stress of the industry she works in. Those are all really good, and Sara And Sara is a really, and you know, seeing Sara get all emotional and seeing her get very serious, not to say she hasn't before, but it's a really nice change of pace from the kind of goofy-ish Sara that we tend to see. And so I feel Sara's part of the story is handled really well, and I feel Kaede's part for the first bit of it is handled well, is handled a bit well too, because it kind of, it doesn't really put much of her self-esteem or stuff into question. It's about like, how do I handle the fact that this person I love so much I can't see that often. And that's where it was good. So everything up to before the modeling partner stuff, I guess you can say like by the end of the anniversary dinner event was good and was really good, and I liked a lot of that. But since it kept going after that, it kind of brings it down a bit for me. I know it might just be me. Overall, I still like the couple, but I am honestly tempted to maybe put it at the bottom of my list of favorites for the four we've seen so far. And now, I'm going to be hesitant with that placing. I'm going to put it there for right now, but it might not be a permanent thing. Because, like, I know I have my issues with Yuna and Nanami overall. Like, in this story, like, in regards to this game specifically, this is probably my least favorite story, couple story. But in terms of the couple itself, it might also be my least favorite couple, if only because something has to be at the bottom. I'll hold a kind of extreme judgment on that. I might just be being a bit hasty right now. So it's so Sara and Kaede and Yuna and Nanami are kind of fighting for third place right now. And something to note as my overall rating, it's like, oh, but like, don't you like Joined in Love with, like, don't you like My Dear Prince better than the original Kiss for the Petals? So wouldn't like Sara and Kaede rank higher because of that? And while the answer is yes, I do like that. I do like that story better. It's actually sadly not by much. And I've seen great improvements on Yuna and Nanami's couple, and you know, these two have stayed, you know, the same, which is, you know, these two have kind of stayed the same. They're, I feel, a bit improved in this story. But, you know, again, I'll hold off. I mean no offense if they get moved down to the bottom. Or I mean to not say that they're not a great couple or that I don't like them. They're a good couple, and I do like them. Just something has to be on the bottom. Again, I'm going to hold my judgment. I'm going to hold judgment off. I'm going to hold extreme judgment off. That's just a general idea of their placing. They're potentially third or fourth place, just like Yuna and Nanami were. That being said, I like the dynamic that these two had in the earlier moments. You know, you have a lot of this kind of like, it almost feels quite a bit like, you know, Sara's kind of like this, you know, almost like this hyperactive little kid, and Kaede's, you know, kind of like, Kaede's almost like a mom. Like a mom, not like in a weird sort of way am I saying that that's their kind of dynamic, but you know, she's got all this energy, you know, Kaede's trying to, you know, help her, and you know, Kaede tries to keep her in check a bit, and you know, their dynamic, there's a lot of, like, Sara was the kind of the big foil character for Kaede in the beginning of their story in My Dear Prince, but I like how Kaede's being this big foil character for Sara, and that these two really do love each other. That these two really do love each other. And that the other is and that one is first priority to the other. And you really see that. You really see how much they care and help each other and are there through the kind of thick and thin of it. And I like that the story kind of has a conflict without putting something in between the two of them. There's not like a big fight that happens between these two that really, like, you know, challenges how much they really love each other. It's nothing like that. It's more about, like, it's more about kind of like testing like on what like is there any situation where something's going to snap in their love, or there's going to be a strain in their relationship? And the answer is no. And I love how they kind of get through that. Again, that's all within like the first half or 2/3 of the part of the story, though. Again, that other half is honestly, you know, good for its purpose, but I feel generally unnecessary. But that's just me, and this part is gonna reach over 50 minutes soon. Jesus. But alright, that's my saying on that, you know. But, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. I liked this couple. I really did, as the positive takeaway. And actually, something really quick I want to talk about. I plan to maybe make a video kind of going into full detail about this, but people have been asking, and I think now that we're at the end of this, it would be a good time to talk about it. And that is the fact that Sara and Kaede are in fact cousins. I just thought I thought that I'd add this in before we kind of get to the end of this, and I think now is a good time to talk about it. At least a small bit of it. I'll probably maybe make a more fully in-depth take on the whole thing later, but for now I want to share kind of a bit of my opinion of it, or more kind of answer the question, does that bother me? Does the fact that they're cousins bother me? And it's a little tough answering that question, but I will say for these two, just kind of the fact that they're cousins, like if it truly bugs me or like detracts points for this couple, I guess the answer is not really. Let me level with you. Let me explain. I can go into kind of the whole, you know, complications of, this being fictional, like, I could go into a whole talk about, like, how okay something like this would be, or the fact that I can go into my morals about incest, and I can have this huge discussion, which I might later on, but I will just talk about how I kind of can view this from the story standpoint, just really quickly. It's kind of a thing where I feel the fact that they're cousins, it's something you can honestly just ignore. With how little it means to their, with how little it has an effect on their relationship, and how little it seems to ever be mentioned, and how little, like, I can seriously just, like, a kind of, best way to say it is, if you swapped cousins for childhood friends at any point in this story or any other story these two are tied to, I promise you this, it makes like almost nothing has changed about their relationship. That really, and I sincerely feel it is, and I sincerely feel it's like, it's despite how big of a like a social, like how big of like a taboo this is, or how like controversial you can think this could potentially be, it really changes nothing about the way they interact as a couple. And there's never like the issues of, is this, and they never really bring up the issues of like, is this okay, or like, is this okay, is this true? And we never like, and it's like everyone who seems to, and everyone who seems to figure it out, because I'm pretty sure all the best couples know that they're cousins. It's like they don't seem to give a shit, apparently. Like, whoever does know about it doesn't care. And it's like, I feel maybe they were trying to set up for some sort of bigger storytelling here, a different story they wanted to tell about maybe like a forbidden love like that, but it's like, with how little it actually affects the overall story these guys are in, and the fact that I can seriously just in my head swap it for childhood friends or ignore it entirely, and the fact that I've had some points where I just outright forgot they were cousins, it means so little in terms of this story that I don't let it bother me too much, I guess, is the thing. is I could probably again give a more deep and in-depth answer to that question. But really, that's just kind of it for. But really, that's just kind of what I'm going to say on the issue, on the subject for now. That's my answer. Does it bug me? I guess you can say no, not really. Again, there's a more complicated answer, but that's the simple answer for now. Anyway, with that being said, where do we go from here? Well, I think it's very obvious where we go from here. We're going in sequential order, so next time we're going to be doing Mai and Reo's route. And honestly, I'm very excited for this route. I'm honestly very excited for this route. We've gotten little hints of how these characters are going to act, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the rare cases where Reo's a POV character, like we saw that one time, and just seeing kind of what kind of happens with their friendships and all that stuff. So it's very exciting for me. And this was my favorite couple, and it's kind of got, like, it could potentially become my favorite couple again. It's got a battle. It's got a battle it's fighting. And honestly, I still think Risa and Mia are going to win. But, you know, I'm giving it a fair shot. And, you know, this is kind of what it is. This is like the epic battle for my #1 spot. Like, Mai and Reo, at least now for now, has got something it's going to want to try and prove. And again, this was my favorite couple. This is a lot. Mai and Reo is a lot of people's favorite. And, you know, now we kind of, like, see, can it become my favorite again? There's something to say, even if it doesn't become my favorite, it's still a really good couple. Again, the kind of thing between these guys is a very close race. So this is what kind of keeps my interest levels going for it. So, but yeah, can it scoop up a win, or is it just gonna be relegated down to second place? I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's what we got to look forward to, and hopefully I'll be able to crank those parts out a little faster than these parts, because yeah, oof. Again, I'll make an update video on it, and something I will, I guess, admit is that I did get a bit burned out from the game. I don't know if I got burned out because I felt the story was going too long. I don't know if the burnout was specifically because I felt this particular story was going out too long, or maybe I was playing just simply too much Maidens of Michaels. So maybe I got burned out from the game as a whole. So there could be that bit of unfortunate timing, perhaps, for this couple. But hey, I feel things are definitely going to be a lot more better for Mai and Reo. I'm a bit more revitalized, more looking forward to it, and we've got, again, my second favorite couple coming up, which might become my favorite again. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to crank parts out a little faster. Then again, this setup I'm in also might cause some conflict. We'll see, you know. We'll see, you know. It's just kind of about figuring it out. So yeah. With that, we're gonna end things off here, and so next time. And so we have another couple down, and we have another coming up next time. So next time on Kiss for the Petals, Maidens of Michael, we'll be going after Mai and Reo's route. See you guys then.